Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis Side Hustle podcast. My name is Rick Paddock. I'm your host. And yes, this is a podcast all about the wonderful business of clinical hypnosis, of helping people make changes as a side hustle, as a part-time business. And today we have the wonderful, talented, fantastic Randi Light. And so Randi is not only a friend, we're maybe a few hours away, but beyond that, what's important is she's a hypnosis instructor. She's a peak performance coach. She's a healer. She's an author. All around wonderful person. Randi Light, thanks for joining us.
I'm just so excited to be here, and when HypnoThoughts Live is a sponsor, because I love HypnoThoughts.
Yeah, it really, I got into, like so many people, into the business as a side hustle. And what HypnoThoughts Live did for me is it gave me the chance to talk to other people who, like me, are new, who, like me now, have been in it for a while. And I saw that these are all just normal, heart-centered, caring people. Mm-hmm. I'm a normal, heart-centered, caring person. If they can do it, if they can learn how to talk to people and connect to people, which I've always been able to do, I can do this. So it's very encouraging. And so, as you know, Randi, this is about creating a hypnosis practice, a clinical practice as a side hustle. And in today's episode of the podcast, I would love to talk about your experience in growing the business, sales and marketing, tips, tools, suggestions that you have. I know in our last episode, and listeners and viewers can check for another episode that Randi and I did together, you mentioned networking and speaking and a few other things. What are some of the things that you recommend for newer hypnosis practitioners to do to start building their business?
Well, I recommend that you join networking. There's all kinds of different networking groups. Like I'm part of this one called Business Women United Networking event, and that's in our area where I live. And there's the BNI, there's offshoots of one, if you just Google networking, but join them, go everywhere. I mean, that's the whole thing. People need to know that you can help them because they have no idea. Most people know of hypnosis for weight loss and smoking and clucking like a chicken, right?
Right.
That's it. And then, but oh my God, the gamut of what we can do, because I work a lot with anxiety and feelings of anxiety and depression and insomnia and chronic pain. If I were to say that I specialize, but we'll get into that in a minute. But networking, so joining one or two chambers, depending on how much time you have, you can. I did that, and you get opportunities to actually give a 30-second or a minute commercial about you. So, I mean, I belong to a chamber. There's hundreds of people there, and maybe 10 people actually get up and do the 30-second. And it's obvious that they don't own their own business, because you have to get up when it's your own business.
Yeah.
And you want to feel confident doing that. And it's a simple process. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's no big deal. No one knows. It's all just fun. Authenticity is in right now. So you just telling people things gets the word out there and going places. I swear, everywhere I go, if I go anywhere, if I walk on my beach, if I go out for live music, I always end up talking about business and getting clients. It's fabulous.
I love it. Well, you said a couple things that I want to touch on. First of all, thanks for bringing up the reality that authenticity and vulnerability are in. It's more acceptable to be just who you are. People connect with that. It's almost in some ways not in to be too polished, too practiced, because people can't connect with you. You're like, wow, that guy's next level. That young lady's next level. And so that authenticity does help us as we're new. And the other point, thank you for, getting into that about networking. That's what I teach my students, my group members, that the number one thing you have to remember is, as much as you love about this business, you need to, the acronym I use is TTP, talk to people. You got to talk to people. And the best way to do it, the way that a place where people are open to talking business, is networking groups. So I love it. Fantastic. Do you have a thought, a recommendation for people that, because a lot of people that get into these fields are caring, heart-centered, healing, sometimes introverted. They want to take care of other people. They don't want the spotlight on them. Any recommendations for people that are a little reluctant to network or talk to people?
Well, I'm going to say go through the essential four. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Do self-hypnosis. Listen to recordings that build your confidence. And what I've noticed and realized, so I've hypnotized thousands, in the last 11 years, thousands of children and adults. And I realized along the way that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. That's what the research says. And very few people have their back and are there for them. And we all need a coach. I really realized that if you had somebody, if we were doing it with our 60,000 thoughts, it would be fine, but we're not. We need someone to remind us and pull out our best qualities. And you as the hypnotist, people need to know that you have these gifts that no other people have. So it's you recognizing you, because whether that's ego, if you don't want to be in the spotlight, it's still your ego. So that means that you just need to work on yourself. And I always encourage people working on themselves and recognizing that you're here to serve. It's not about you. You're here to serve and to let people know that you have something that could help them. Otherwise, who knows? Their life could be really messed up because you didn't mention it.
Yeah, we have an obligation in many ways. We do need to share it. And so I like it. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Have somebody work on you. Get a hypnotist, a colleague, a coach, because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the world to talk about it. And the way that I frame it with my students and colleagues and members of the groups that I'm in is take the spotlight off of you. And I understand what you're saying about ego. I agree a big part of it is ego, but I think there's also personality. Some people it's in their personality to be more introverted, more shy, but you can still find a way out of it. And that's through, among other ways, like you said, recognizing it's not about you, it's about them, and it's about sharing what you love. I like to say that marketing is sharing, what we're passionate about, and selling is then asking. So you share what you love and then you ask. And so you've done that. You recommend to your students to get out and network and to join groups. And you also mentioned that there's the opportunity then to kind of speak, whether it's a 30-second or a minute. Has making presentations been a part of the growth of your business, or what you recommend for people getting into the business?
Oh, totally. It's part of the networking too. And so my previous life, I have a master's in environmental education. So I was already doing presentations, and I was taught how to do presentations, the P's of presenting. So I came with that. So I do try to include that when I train my students to some extent, to help you build what you're going to say. Practicing, we know when you practice, whether you're doing a 30-second, a 1 minute, a 5 minute, when you practice then you feel more confident you can project more. It's presenting is such a wonderful thing. If you're a hypnotist, you know so many things about the mind, about the subconscious, about our thoughts, about how it affects us. There are so many cool, wild things that people want to hear and don't know, and could really help them and their children. And it just, the referral, I have I think a 60% referral rate.
That's fantastic.
People just, and now Google is, I'm starting to get more on Google because I've been doing this for 11 years, but the word keeps spreading when you get results and you're authentic. I know that I also work with a lot of hypnotists to help them overcome their baggage, right? To upgrade their identity. So and to get over the money issues. And if you have presenting issues, presenting is actually, it becomes simple, or so much more simpler. Yeah. When you practice and you just go for it. And there are coaches, like I can help you, you can help people get confident. You listen to the audio recordings, you do something to get yourself feeling comfortable with a main presentation. And you'll get clients.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing you said that is so true. Well, for somebody new to the business, I can see where it can be daunting. Oh, I don't know that much about the mind. How can I talk about it? Yet you can, in a brief hypnosis education, a good training course, you can share in just a few minutes some key information that the far majority of the population doesn't know, that they're fascinated with it. Just in sharing it can impact their lives. So you don't have to be a graduate level expert in it. Just a little bit of information that you can learn in your training is powerful.
Yeah, Rick. So here's what I learned about myself. Like, if I could, like, I've read The Biology of Belief. Have you read that book?
By Lipton?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
So I use a lot of that in my presentations and in my pre-talk, but I had to read it 4 times. I had to highlight, rewrite the highlights. And what I realized for me, instead of getting upset about how I learn, I've embraced it, and I really learn the best when I present something. So if I want to learn more about stress, like I couldn't remember whether it was the parasympathetic or sympathetic nervous system was so I decided I'd do a presentation on stress so that I would learn it and be able to talk about it. And so that's what a presentation, it upgrades you. So once you practice it and you learn, so you don't have to know it, you just start doing a little bit of research and get your main points. We don't need, I just did a Facebook Live on how to apply quantum physics in peak performance, because I want to be able to talk about quantum physics to people. I was like, and I had so much more fun than I thought I would. And it was a lot easier than I thought, but really understanding. So that is what I'm suggesting, is that you pick a topic, an angle that you want to learn about, whether it is stress or the mind or the mind-body connection or just all about our thoughts, and have that, and then you'll learn it. Then you'll know it once you start teaching it.
It's so true. So I touched a little bit on how some people might be introverted or shy. I started a meetup group for sensitive people. I consider myself a sensitive person, and in just a year and a half, 600 people joined this meetup group. Yeah, and a lot of people resonated with it. So I would give presentations on new processes, skills, insights, and awarenesses about our mind, because I would learn something and like, I want to know this better. So I would schedule a talk about it. And then you learn even more because you want to put on a good talk. So
totally. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Meetup. So that's a new, thing that wasn't really around when I started.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So you also mentioned a little bit right there. You said, like, if there's something you're really excited about or want to learn about, teach it. I know you feel, as I do, that if you can specialize as you begin to grow your side hustle, as you begin to think about who do I want to help, if there are things that are on your heart, what's the benefit of specializing, and why does it seem so hard for new hypnotists to do that, and veterans?
Well, the good news, or the cool news, is hypnosis can be used for almost everything, right? Almost every single person's issues. And I believe it's such a fast and effective change agent. So right there, the sky is the limit. I mean, for helping people.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
That's the challenge.
Kind of, when we're trying to specialize. Yeah.
So in some ways, it's a cool challenge.
Yeah.
So I'm the queen of not being able to get zeroed in. So I got myself down to anxiety, depression, and insomnia are very, very connected. And a lot of people, and especially anxiety and depression. And then, but a lot of them are dealing with insomnia. So those are almost like one thing. And so when I train my students, I always encourage people to specialize. Here's the thing for me, because I didn't want to, or I couldn't figure it out when I first got started. I have to do so much busy work, and I have to carry so much of my business forward, and I have to put so much time into so many different things, where if I was just known for the insomnia or for the peak performance, then then almost everything I do, every marketing campaign, anything I'm doing would have much more focus. And the more focused you are, the easier, that's work smarter, not harder. And you will get more referrals and get known. It'll just be easier to grow and grow your business when you specialize.
Especially as a side hustle. Great point, all of that, because as you're looking to just fit this into extra hours in addition to your main income, find that area, that piece that you just love to talk about. And not only is it easy for you to fit it in, but it's easier for you to refer out. You can just say, someday I may add that to my practice, but I don't, go see Randy, Rick.
People do that.
Yeah.
So, and I think the other thing, what people can embrace is choose to specialize for this year. So 2019, you want to do this, or 2000, and then you can change it in 2020, and you just make your plan for that year, and then you just keep building it. But so when you go to your networking events, and when you go to do your 30-second commercial, you're staying focused for a period of time, so people get to know you, and when they see you, they think, oh, she helps you with anxiety and depression, or she helps you with, peak performance. And you want that link. You want to be front row center in people's minds about a specific thing that you can help them with, or their children with, or friends.
Yeah, I love it. I heard years ago, and it really resonated with me, and I share it with my students, that specializing is like shining, that spotlight. It's a beam, and it goes really high, and people can see it from really far. And if you're trying to do everything, it kind of the light scatters. It's not as bright. People aren't as clear about what you do.
Nice.
Yeah, that niche, there's that beam, and people very clearly from far away know who you are, what you're about, who you work with. Awesome. I love that. Well, one last thing. I want to wrap things up, but before we do, I know that you, like me, believe in the power of similar to specializing, and that's programs. And that's how we connected. We met at one of your presentations at HypnoThoughts Live about your Essential 4. So just briefly, tell us a little bit about Essential 4 and how the benefit of that program, how that fits into a side hustle.
Okay, so I'm going to show it because I showed it for a second, when I was talking, but
Yeah.
This is a training manual for hypnotists, and it's 4 sessions that I believe virtually every person on the planet would benefit from going through. It's really good for helping people overcome feelings of anxiety and depression, insomnia, chronic pain, but it's great for weight loss. It's great for anything and almost everything. And it answered the question of when, let me back up for a second. I believe it's really important to offer a program, a package of sessions for your clients. Yes, you can do one as an introduction, but yes, they can feel better after one session, but to really keep that change, to help change people's lives, get them in the directions that they really want to be in, and getting out of their own way, they need a package, they need a program. And we have that 60,000 thoughts. So what are we focusing on? What we want or what we don't want? And our fears come up, and we all have a financial thermostat set in a certain thing. So all those things contribute, and you as a hypnotist can serve so many people because it's one of the fastest, most effective change agent, and makes change in the subconscious. So, but offering them a program, because there's so much work to be done. It's not a one and done. Yes, you can help them, but the more you work with them, the better they're going to be. And when you realize that you offering them, I literally one time years ago had this lady go, no, I need the 12 session package. I don't need the, I don't know what I was showing her, 4H. She's like, oh, wait, you have a 12? I need that. I know I need that. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, how did I, that's not okay. I really believe everybody could benefit from a 3 months or a 12 session, everybody. You would help them so much. And when you start to embrace that as truth, and you start to see that that's true, that we get in our way, whether it's, and there's so many different aspects of our life, right? There's personal, professional, there's our connections with our loved ones, there's there's just endless things to work on. I like to say there's always another level, like level of confidence, level of success, and there's always another layer, a layer of the onion to peel to get to, so you can get to that next level of confidence or that next level of who you are.
Agreed.
So did that answer it? So the 4 sessions that you can like know you're going to do with your clients. And so you know for sure they're going to go for a 4 session, but many times they need more than 4, but at least you know what you're doing and you have a package ready to rock and go. And so I always encourage that. Everybody needs it. You're going to help them even more.
It's a great foundation. And the cool thing about a program or a package like that is it's a win-win. It has a greater impact for the client and it impacts your business. You know, this Hypnosis Side Hustle podcast is all about creating greater income in the world, a greater impact in the world, and income in your life. And the programs and packages do that. And yes, that's where I first found out about the Essential 4. I met Randi was at HypnoThoughts Live. Randi, if people want to get hold of you, what's the best way?
Well, you can email me, randiligt@gmail. So RANDILIGHT@gmail. You can go to my website, randilighthypnosis.com, and you can get even a complimentary coaching call, but that's a way to contact me. You can go to my Facebook, friend me on Facebook, or go to my business page, Enlightened Living with Randi Light, and like it, because I'm always doing things and podcasts. And you can actually just do that old-fashioned thing of calling or contacting me through text at 219-929-8726. So just, you want to make change, work with a hypnotist.
I love it. Randi, thanks so much for sharing all your info today and the impact you're making in the world.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.